what is going on, collectors? Optical 20 back for another video. This is the last one for the day, I promise. So this is now we're looking at Inart Rick Grimes. Oh boy, it's beautiful. And hopefully you can pre-order this at Big Bad Toy Store, because that's my go-to place, especially with Inart, who you never know if it's gonna release next year or 2 years from now. You know, I don't really want to tie up my funds elsewhere, especially if the tariff. I live in the US. If the tariff goes like 300%, you know. But as far as the figure is concerned, it looks beautiful. Now I have Rick Grimes. I have two from 3-0. I wouldn't say was, but I could say was. I don't watch them anymore. Walking Dead. I know they've been continuing this series in a spin-off, but I still try to reminisce the old days where I do have 3-0 did two pretty good Rick Grimes, especially for the price. It's under $200. So they did this Rick Grimes as well. But obviously not as good. You know, you don't have... No, I think the Rick Grimes that I have is a black shirt. This is what, like season... I don't know, the Negan one, season 6. This has all the elements of a premium figure. And what do I mean by that? You know, the separation within the premium figure, obviously nowadays, is the rooted hair. Rolling eyeball, a regular MMS has that. Also, another option for that is, you know, obviously the hands, which is sculpted. You don't see the seam on the wrist, which looks beautiful, especially for a figure like Rick, who has exposed wrist. I say one wrist because the other one is being covered by the watch. That by itself helps to sell the illusion that this is a real human being. Like if somebody sees this, not up close, because obviously the beard would give it away. If in a distance, somebody would say that this is actually Rick Grimes, like a photo of Rick Grimes. Like that shot right here, you know, like a normal person who doesn't collect would say this is Rick Grimes. It doesn't show any characteristics of an action figure. And that's what you want. You know, you want to blur the illusion between a figure and an actual person. And I think for the most part, Inart does a great job on that. For those who are worried about the hair, including myself, I've been kind of burnt by, you know, the Inart Joker. I never got a fair, you know, the hair on my Joker was not what I saw from other collectors, and maybe that's not their fault completely. That's just randomly. Same with my Aragorn. My Aragorn has, you know, pretty decent rooted hair, but not as well as the one that's advertised. I would say for this Rick Grimes, maybe my chances is a little better because it is a pseudo slick back hair with some curliness on it. So it's not super long where it needs to drape in his face or needs to have a certain volume, so to speak. It's pretty simple, yet you could screw it up. Like I would see Hot Toys, if they have The Walking Dead, somehow this would be thicker, you know, something like that. So I don't know. I always felt like Inart had the better technique / results when it comes to rooted hair. You know, it's not, there's still variety. I still got burnt by them, but overall, I would say their hit ratio is pretty high. Their batting average is pretty high. This guy right here doesn't come with a whole lot of accessories, but enough. You know, that utility belt that he does have. Is that gray pants? This was a very customized figure back in the day. You know, him and Dexter, I would say, are the two ones, and Breaking Bad, Walter White. They're always being customized, and though the prices for those custom figures are insane. I would say with this release, it could go toe to toe with custom figures. You know, it has all the elements that you would want from something custom. There are custom that are just amazing. So, but you know what, I would have this go toe to toe with that. It looks pretty darn good. I'm gonna get this. I think I'll get this in Negan because I still put The Walking Dead up there as one of the best TV shows of all time. You know, like it is up there. We had it good back in the mid 2010s. I think that's when it was, between 2010 and 17 perhaps, where we have The Walking Dead, we have Dexter, we have Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones. What a good time for cable television at that time. Now cable has kind of went away, and we're now on streaming. I don't know if anyone's gonna match that, those kind of TV shows back in the day. Like I can't say after, we still have some Walking Deads out there, but it's not the same. We still have some Game of Thrones out there in the form of, like the I forgot the name of that Game of Thrones, but it is not the same as Game of Thrones. So Breaking Bad, we had Better Call Saul, but it's not the same. Even though I like all those shows still, but for this, I think having him, Daryl, and Negan would be enough to have a representation of Breaking Bad in your collection. I don't know if I'm gonna buy a $500 or even a $400 Carol. So that is maybe where 3-0 would come in. You can get the Governor, because the Governor, he's a good villain, but I would say Negan was better. So with that, like maybe something like the Governor, it's okay to spend just $200 for a 3-0 one, or Ezekiel. Maybe that would work. Now, if you don't want to, match it up with something with a caliber of 3-0, I get it. You might feel like it would cheapen your display. You don't have to. You don't have to. I think having Rick and obviously Daryl would be enough. You don't even need Negan. But, for the sake of just having all of them, you always want to have, like, especially if you're into photography, you want to have, like, a villain in there. So, I think that's where Negan comes in. But they give you enough hands, to swap out, which is really cool. This is the belt that he does have. I wonder what it's made of, because the one from 3-0 is made out of rubber, which is okay. It's not gonna, if it's leather or something, it's gonna break, it's gonna flake. Rubber, I don't mind at all, as long as it looks good. This one looks good. The tailoring looks pretty well. It looks like he can move freely. There's no tugging and pulling there, and I always wonder how Inart or J&D does that. But overall, this is a really good looking product. I don't know how much this would be at the time of this video. They haven't released the pre-order price yet. So, but if it's anywhere near, like Paul Atreides and whatnot, I wouldn't be mad at that. But let me know in the comments, how do you think it turned out? Are you gonna pick up one? Love to hear your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one.